and welcome here to TalkFCB, and what a game that was from the first minute to the 120th minute and then into penalty kicks. And for the first time ever on this channel, we are going to be talking here today about an official penalty shootout, a competitive one, and it really was down to the wire in this game. But in the end, Riqui Puig, the man to fire us into the Supercopa final. But you gotta say, what a performance, dominating between the sticks from Marc-André ter Stegen. We're discussing it all in a game that had everything. So let's get to it. Because of course we start first of all with the big news that was indeed the team selection, and there were several surprises there from Ronald Koeman. Starting in goal, it was of course ter Stegen, who we are going to come on to. Jordi Alba, who actually ended up being the captain at the end of the game for Barca, with Longley alongside Araujo at centre-back. And a big shout out there to Araujo to come back as quickly as he did from the injury that he had at the weekend, and to play not only there from the start, but the full entire game. That was so impressive. And also shout out there to Mingueza, who has played it right back there to give Serginho Dest some much needed rest. We've been talking there about how much he needs that, and Mingueza there came in at right back. It was De Jong and Busquets at the heart of midfield, with Griezmann, Pedri, Dembele and Martin Braithwaite from the start. But Pedri again, I felt throughout this game, he was much a similar way there to Dest. I think he needs rest. I think he did look like he was tiring, and that's why he did come off there in that second half. But of course, we are also missing somebody very significant indeed, because in that starting lineup and indeed on the bench, there was no Lionel Messi. Now, concern even started before the game actually took place, because Messi didn't take part there in the final training session with the team and instead stayed at the hotel. And it's believed basically that the knock that he received against Granada, he came off early, of course, in that game. To all of our surprise, it was only a knock. It is such a minor issue, but it hadn't 100% cleared up by this game, and for that reason, the coaching staff there, and rightly so, didn't want to take a risk with Messi, so he watched the game there from the stands, and he wasn't involved in the squad whatsoever. And I think, honestly, right throughout that game, guys, in the first half, the second half, what you saw right there was two teams who were quite well balanced. I think Sociedad had some very good moments. Barcelona also did in front of goal. We didn't take as many of our chances we have done in previous games, but I certainly felt as though we were tiring out there. I think in the end, the two teams, Sociedad probably ended the game stronger. We had a good end there to the first half too. But I think overall, it was a real test there of who could get themselves over the line. It wasn't liquid football. It wasn't the fantastic play that we saw against Athletic or against Granada. But in the end, we got the job done. And indeed, the first goal came there about 5 minutes or so before half-time. And I've got to say, this was an absolutely wonderful goal. And it was from that man, Frenkie de Jong, who's just been everywhere. We spoke about him before this game. We spoke about him there following the absolutely brilliant month that he's had so far. And he just continues it. He has been so good from midfield. And it's good work in the first place there from Braithwaite, who picks the ball up. He drops in. It's a really clever turn from him. He plays a good ball in behind to Antoine Griezmann, who finds himself in space again on that left side. He's found another pocket, which he's been doing recently, and it's a ball there that comes into Frenkie de Jong. Now, I don't just want to talk about the header, which was brilliant, by the way, a stunning header from de Jong, but I also want to talk there about that movement, because as we know, as we've seen him do recently, he gets into the box, he does really well there to make that late run, but if you actually watch this back, he checks brilliantly, because he actually goes there towards the far post. He goes behind his man, first and foremost, but at the very last second, as that ball comes in, he just checks, and then he moves ahead of his man. Brilliant movement from de Jong, so clever, and it's a great header, because that's a powerful cross from Griezmann there. It's at an awkward height, and de Jong has really got to get behind that, and he's really got to try and get over that header to keep it down. It's a brilliant goal that gave Barca a deserved lead in that first half, but sadly for us, that didn't last, because indeed the other way, after half-time, just 5 minutes or so after the half-time whistle, it was that man who was heavily involved again, but at the wrong end of the pitch, because it was de Jong who gave away a penalty, and it was certainly a controversial one. The ball there comes into the area. De Jong, he's not really focusing on that action. All he's worried about there is getting back in, trying to fill the gaps there at centre-back. He's sprinting back. The ball does connect with his arm, but you'd have to say it's in a perfectly natural area. here. I don't think there that De Jong is leaving his arm well out. He's not raising it. It's not in an unnatural position. But the penalty there was given. VAR did check it. And in the end, the penalty was still awarded to Sociedad. Oyarzabal stepped up, put it away very, very well. And Sociedad found themselves level in a second half there that could have gone either way. And as I say, guys, as that second half went on, I think both teams are certainly tiring. In particular, Barcelona players went off. We made subs there, like Pedri, Busquets going off. I think Dembele did really well there to complete the entirety of the game, and I didn't really feel as though the subs who came on for Barca had enough of an impact on the game, and that was disappointing there from Koeman's perspective. And I also want to point out there, just before we did move into extra time, Lionel Messi, he may not have been playing, he may not have been out there on the field because of that injury concern, but he was out there doing the team talk. Before that extra time started, he was talking to the team, he was trying to rally them, he was trying to get everybody going and really go out and secure our place in the final. But you've got to say, in that extra time period, there was one man that stood out head and shoulders above anyone else, and for the entirety of the rest of the game, it was Ter Stegen. He was absolutely outstanding, in particular when he came up against Januzaj, because 5 minutes there from the end of the game, after 115 minutes there of having to be focused, Januzaj is in on goal. It's quite a tight angle, but he produces there a really good shot across goal. Ter Stegen, though, he's alive to it. He sticks out there, a really strong right arm, bats it away, really good save, and it gets better, because then Januzaj takes a free kick from distance. It's a wonderful hit. I thought that was definitely going, and I thought that was us done in this competition, but again, it hits the post, but on the replay you can see Ter Stegen, he gets a fingertip to it. He somehow gets a touch there on that strike from Januzaj to divert it, the faintest of touches, onto the post. Wonderful save, but still, the best was yet to come, because I honestly felt as though when we were going there into that penalty shootout, that is something that us as Barcelona fans, we haven't really experienced that much in competitive action. We don't really go through penalty kicks. They haven't happened over the past few years. But Ter Stegen, he just looked so dominant. In that goal there, you had full confidence in him, full belief in him that he was going to get the job done. He looked so tall, strong. He had a stature about him. And I think that's what Sociedad thought. Every time there they took a step up to take that penalty, they were concerned. The first one, Ter Stegen saves it. The second one there from Oyarzabal, Ter Stegen saves it. William Jose, he's trying to be so accurate that he ends up hitting the post. And Ter Stegen there for me was such a leader, such a dominant figure. He psyched out Sociedad. And in the end, like I say, Dembele scored, Pjanic scored, De Jong hit the post, Griezmann blazed one over the bar, but it was Riqui Puig who came on there for the period of extra time. He booked our place in the Supercopa final, and now it's over to Thursday, when we'll be finding out if we face Real Madrid or Athletic Club this Sunday. So please do leave your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. That, like I say, was a game that did have pretty much everything. I'm not saying that it was the best game ever technically, but I think over those 120 minutes and then the penalties too, there was certainly drama out there tonight. What are you expecting there ahead of Sunday's final? What did you feel about our performance today? And what players would you look to use looking towards the weekend? Let me know all of those thoughts down below. Thank you indeed, guys, for your support as always. And until next time, as always, Visca El Barça!